stacking surfer. I think I'm your best friend. Balances in your bank and stack. What's up, everybody? Stacking Surfer here. Glad to have you guys. I've got another awesome interview and video today. And I want to introduce our guest here, Levi Gunter. He is the OneGold Sales and Marketing Manager at AppMex. And so today I want to introduce you guys to OneGold. I also want to introduce you to Levi. I think he's a great guy. And this is a company and a product that I have been using for the last couple of years that I wanted to introduce you guys to. And it's another part of the strategy of stacking for me. So think of it as another arrow in the quiver of your stacking strategy. So anyway, Levi, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, Levi, I wanted to see if you could help us understand and maybe share some of the thoughts of what OneGold is technically from a company standpoint, and how they got started, how you got started working with OneGold, and then I'd love to understand a little bit more of some of your personal background, and then from there, without getting too technical, I want to dive into what OneGold is, how people can use it. And then I plan on doing a more technical video, which is really more of a screen by screen play on how to use it, so that people understand. Okay, now that we've had the interview, now I understand how to technically use it, and people can start getting busy with it. So anyway, tell us a little bit about OneGold.
Great. Yeah. So OneGold is, I can kind of go into our background a little bit. That may be helpful for context. So it's a relatively young company. We were launched in 2018 by two industry names that your audience may be familiar with. So you have AppMex and Sprott actually launched OneGold together. And for context, so AppMex, they are the largest physical precious metals retailer here in the US. So they've been in business for about 24 years now. I think they've done something in the neighborhood of about 18 billion in sales. So I kind of think of them as sort of like the Amazon of physical precious metals. So you call them or you order online and they send you the physical product. And then you have Sprott on the other hand, which is an alternative asset manager based out of Ontario. Also a really reputable name, sort of adjacent to AppMex in that they're involved in precious metals. But Sprott is actually more known for gold and silver ETFs. So at this point, I think they have something in the neighborhood of about 25 billion in AUM for their ETFs. And you might wonder, like, well, why would these two companies, partner together? What's in it for them? And kind of the leadership at the time thought there was sort of a growing need for a more modern, intuitive, secure, and mostly cost-efficient means of actually owning precious metals. And so that was the intent with OneGold, is to kind of, I guess, give you the best of both worlds between an ETF, so that convenience factor that you have there, and sort of the low fee structure, but also, the security and peace of mind that comes with actually owning physical precious metals too. So, and that's what OneGold is. So basically, for your audience who aren't familiar, it's a platform where you can buy and sell vaulted gold, silver, and platinum. It's a mobile app. It's a desktop experience. Customers can buy metal and store it here in the US. You can store it in the Royal Canadian Mint in Canada, or in Brinks or Loomis vaults in Switzerland and the United Kingdom. And from there, basically, your metal just collects dust. Now, that's kind of the intent of it. So we have some pretty cool investment features that maybe we'll talk about later. But overall, that's kind of a little context on OneGold and sort of the why behind why it was launched.
I think that's awesome. So for me, this has been a great option for my friends that have been heavily into, say, cryptocurrencies. It's something that they can be familiar with using an app, being able to buy, precious metals. And then one of the things I wanted to ask you about too is all of us that have been using it, we've been able to convert it over to physical metals. Can you explain maybe just a little bit of that process for people? How, let's say I download the app and I fund it, and how does it work when I'm buying? Not the day to day on how you actually technically go through all of it, but what am I actually buying when I'm buying on OneGold, and then what are the options I have down the road, and how long do I have any kind of a waiting period to take physical possession? Do I have the ability to turn around and sell after I've bought? Let's say it goes drastically up and I decide, hey, I want to take some profits from that. How does that process work?
Yeah, great question. So technically, what you're buying, like I mentioned, vaulted metals. Now, what is that? Typically in silver, it's a 1,000 ounce silver bar stored in any of those vaults I had mentioned earlier, and we only use like I mentioned, top tier vaults, or a 400 ounce gold bar, and basically that enables you to buy metal and purchase it at a lower premium. In terms of the liquidity aspect, it's pretty simple. Once you've purchased metal and your payment's cleared, you can sell at any time. So it's 24/7 with just a couple of clicks, and you could simply, withdraw that to your linked checking account or bank wire or what have you. You could also turn it into a physical delivery, like you had mentioned, and that's kind of where APMEX comes into play. Is they'll actually fulfill that order for you. So if you decide you want to kind of withdraw assets from OneGold, you don't want your fiat, if you will, but you want a physical delivery, you simply go on the website, or you can actually go directly on apmex.com and do the same thing and redeem for any of their 30,000 plus products that they have offered there, and basically convert your vaulted holding to physical deliverable retail products. And that's kind of how that process works.
All right, cool. So I think it's pretty cool. Um, so a couple thoughts that I have from it as well is it seems like a great alternative to sometimes I don't have time to go down to a local coin shop. Other times, I have a feeling that the price is about to jump on spot again, and I might want to grab some. Having that 24-hour access of being able to buy is great. So I can sit from the comfort of my house, I can buy, and then I have the ability to be able to convert it into physical as well. So I think that's pretty great. So when you're looking at the company itself, do you guys see more people right now purchasing silver, gold, or I know platinum's also another opportunity or another metal that you can buy in the app? Do you guys see certain items selling better than others right now? Do you see more people buying, more people selling? What's the sentiment you see out there in the market?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in terms of the products, we do typically sell a little more gold than silver. And I think the same is probably true for APMEX as well, maybe to a lesser degree on APMEX. Silver is pretty popular on OneGold, due to the premium aspect and the storage aspect. And in terms of trends right now, it's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of customers liquidating their holdings. So, we had this trend in 2020 where spot price, I'm thinking first quarter of 2020. So after COVID hit, silver was at like $11 an ounce. Okay. But you couldn't buy physical silver for anything less than, I don't know, like $23. And so a lot of folks at that time really kind of, I guess, backed up the truck, so to speak, and really upped their silver positions. And since then have kind of added to that. Now what we're seeing, since silver's reached sort of recently a 12-year high, is kind of a record in terms of the liquidation. And a lot of that's just going back to cash. A lot of people are turning that into a physical delivery, especially as premiums have normalized. That's kind of a tool that OneGold has been for a lot of folks. When premiums are elevated, they'll get an exposure to gold or to silver, and eventually turn that into a physical delivery. As like I said, premiums tend to normalize. And the way I view it, and I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, is I don't think this is necessarily like a substitute for physical precious metals ownership, right? So, I own physical metals, and for context, most of our customers at OneGold do as well. But there are some real use cases here, and to relay a little bit of what we hear from our customers is there are obviously concerns in terms of the cost. Security is one, liquidity is another. And like I mentioned, cost, obviously spot price, we're not talking about that. I'm talking about premiums. And so ever since 2020, premiums have been elevated for a variety of reasons. That's like a whole nother conversation. But it really eats into your investment, or it can. So I want to invest in the actual metal and not lose on the premium, if you will. And so if I look at even premiums today, I'll take the most popular, silver product. Something that I'm fond of is the silver American Eagle, and just take like an industry average of the premium. If I were to invest, $10,000 into silver American Eagles today and put that same $10,000 into silver on OneGold, I'm going to get around 30% more silver for the same amount of money. So there's a real conversation to be had in terms of cost. I always encourage customers to do all the due diligence they can, especially as it pertains to premiums. That's regardless of if you're buying, on a vaulted solution or actual retail like deliverable products. And then there's the security aspect as well. Like I mentioned, I own metal, but I'm always cognizant of the fact that that's like a unique asset in a lot of ways. So I'm never worried about somebody breaking into my house and that somehow affecting my retirement account or something. Like, it's a unique asset in that you typically store it in your home or a safety deposit box, and neither are insured. And I would say a lot of our customers have 6 or 7 figures invested into precious metals. So you want to know that it's insured. And with OneGold, it's insured through a company called the Lloyd's of London, and it's actually audited as well. So we have third-party audits. So, and then the last thing I think I would mention that we're hearing a lot right now, and again, just going back to the last couple of months, we're seeing more liquidation than we have in the last probably 2 years. Sales are also very strong, but a lot of folks are really taking advantage of these new highs, especially on silver. But if you ever sold physical metal, I have,
Yep. I have
there's
to.
some obstacles there, right? Like you want to find somebody who is going to give you a good price. And if you're fortunate enough, a local dealer will, and then, so that's great. Oftentimes, and nothing against local dealers, you're not getting a great buyback price. So now you've got to call somebody, arrange pricing over the phone. And what's worse is you got to typically ship it too. And so I'm thinking it's going to take, from the time you make your first call until they, send a check or send you a wire, about a week. And with OneGold, like I had mentioned earlier, you could sell at any time and just withdraw your cash on the same or next business day, or even better, turn it into a physical delivery. So again, it's just kind of echoing some of the things we hear from our customers is it's not really a substitute for physical metals ownership, but I think a good supplement overall.
I think so too. A couple examples I'll give you. I'm running a booth right now at the Long Beach Coin Show this weekend. And one of the reasons I have a booth is I have a lot of physical that I'd like to sell closer to retail price. And part of it is to grow the channel, to meet new people. When I'm selling, I'm trying to sell at a good fair price to people. But because I am a vendor, I'm able to sell at more of a retail price. Now, people that are coming to my booth like they did yesterday and they're wanting to sell to me, I have to buy lower than retail in order for me to have some money to help pay for the booth cost and just our time, being there.
You bet.
And
Yeah.
so what I'm noticing at the Long Beach show to yesterday in specifically is prices jumped up. So people were selling a little bit more because they wanted to get a little bit more for their silver. But the dealers were not really paying that much more. In relative to spot. So I was seeing a lot of people buying at like $1 behind spot. With OneGold, if I go to sell, say, some silver that I own on OneGold, am I going to be paying below spot price? Or am I gonna get back less than spot price, or is it going to be at spot? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So from the time we launched OneGold up until today, we have the same buyback premiums across all products. So when you sell back, we give you the current spot price minus a very small premium of 30 basis points. So it's just 0.3% minus the current spot price. So that's kind of where we're at on buyback.
So it's pretty close to spot. I mean, that's
Yes.
very, very
Yeah.
minimal.
Mhm.
What I have been seeing, just to put it into that same percentage, is anywhere from a 3% to a 10% buyback behind spot price. So a couple of the local coin stores, if you go to in Orange County, California, they're buying at 90% of spot. So 10% behind. That's a lot. And the reason they're doing that is they're taking in a lot of silver right now. And so that doesn't mean that silver is not a good buy right now. It doesn't mean that people don't want silver. But to your point, a lot of people have had silver for a very long time, and it's taken a long time for it to get back up into this $30 range for spot. And they're wanting to take some profits. I don't know people that are unloading everything and giving up. I know people that are saying, "Hey, I want to take a portion of this." Another example I'll give you is a gentleman emailed me with a massive amount of silver that he wanted to move, and a lot of it was bought at online bullion dealers like AppMex, and we're talking like 11,000 ounces of silver. 11,000 ounces of silver is not easy to ship and to mail. And so he's now looking at it going, okay, he wants to sell a bunch of this. What do I do with it? And, I gave him an option of a local, refinery person that could take it all and, write him a check. And again, it was about 3 to 5% below spot. And that was something he didn't really want to take. And so he's still trying to figure that out. And so for that, I can see this being a really good option for people, especially if you want to have the option of being able to have some of your metals vaulted safely and insured outside of your premise. You always have the option of being able to have them delivered. I think it's a great option for those that like to have a little bit more liquidity. So this may be some money that you may not want to hold on to for life and send to your, give to your kids for inheritance. So this may not be what I would call your deep stack. It may just be some extra money you have. You see precious metals are doing well. You want to be able to take some fiat out of the bank and be able to take advantage of these, prices going up. And like I like to say, the big wave, surf the big wave of gold and silver that's coming here. I think it's going to be the largest wave in my lifetime. I was born in the late 70s, so I missed the first big wave. I think this is going to be the next big wave coming. And so this is another option, I think, for people to kind of be their own bank and have money that's stored, that's very liquid, that you can turn back into fiat if you need to. And at the end of the day, there's a lot more to this than I think we're just scratching the surface with this first interview today. So, I definitely plan on getting into more of the details of it as we go and how to use it. But what I would love to do is maybe just on the surface side, what are some of the other things you can do with OneGold? You were kind of alluding to other options that are out there as well.
Sure. Yeah. So, again, the intent with OneGold is to have a modern solution. So it should look a little differently buying gold in 2024 than it did 20 years ago. You should have more tools in your, at your disposal. So just a few offhand, like, if you were somebody who you're just getting started and you don't want to put a lump sum in at this current spot price, and you want to, kind of dollar cost average in over time, if you will, we've got a pretty cool feature called Auto Invest. And this helps you kind of buy, small amounts on a recurring basis. So for example, if I want to buy $500 worth of gold every month, I can do that with Auto Invest. You just choose your vault and your payment method and sort of set it and forget it, if you will. Or if I want to buy an ounce of silver every week, you could do that as well. I found that's particularly helpful for those, again, who are just getting started. The premiums are still the same. And that's an important point. So if you are not able to buy, an ounce at a time, and you're buying fractional physical products, those premiums are even more elevated than, what I had mentioned earlier. And so this gives folks a chance to really dollar cost average in over a long period of time and not give up, very much at all in terms of a premium. So that's kind of one of our more popular tools. We actually just launched one here recently. It's a limit order feature. So if current spot price when you're buying isn't what you're looking for, you think it's going to decline some, you could set an automated order that will buy a certain dollar amount or a certain amount of ounces, when your target spot price is achieved. Conversely, if you own metal and you're not watching charts all the time and you want to set a target spot price to liquidate, a portion or all of your silver or gold, you could do that with limit orders too. So that's another pretty cool one. We do have a credit card that we've launched almost 2 years ago now. It's called the Bullion Card. Actually allows you to earn precious metals rewards. So we can get more into that later. But yeah, those are just a few of the things that kind of come to mind offhand. Sure.
I think those are great. So I want to hit those just real quick. So I usually don't recommend people buy proofs. However, every once in a while, they're pretty cool and you might want to have one of them. But this is an American gold buffalo that's a proof. You can see how shiny it is. And, this is a great coin to have. For a lot of people out there, though, this is a pretty expensive coin. It's 1 ounce. And you can't really buy them fractionally. They don't make them. They do have some that came out several years ago. And even those are now collector pieces and super expensive. So you wouldn't be buying those. If I want to get a gold buffalo, I've got to either save up until I have the amount for 1 ounce, right? And I've got to do that either in my bank or hold cash at my house. Um, you know, some people may even start buying 10th ounces of gold, which I would not recommend doing if you're looking to trade up to a 1 ounce gold, because you're going to lose money on the high premiums that you pay for the 10th ounce golds. And then when you go to try to convert that, you're also going to have another premium that comes into play. So if you're set on getting something like a gold buffalo and you want the 1 ounce with the lower premiums, then come with the 10th ounce. I think this is a great option. You're able to, if you wanted to put $10 in a day, $1 in a day, there's ways for you to go about, putting smaller amounts of money in. Maybe $1 a day is not the right way to do it, because you're going to have the transaction that goes through, and it might just be a little bit of a pain. But to Levi's point, you have the ability to set up an amount of money that goes out in some kind of an increment that you determine, and then you get to the point where you have that 1 ounce. And then if you want to take physical possession of it, you can do that. I like the option of being able to have some things vaulted. For me, I show my face on YouTube. I think it's smart to have things that are in different locations. So, I typically have metals closer to me that I might need to use in an emergency, and metals that are more of an investment or wealth insurance. I would love the option of being able to have that be insured. So, I think there are some great options there. As far as the limit order goes, for some of you that are stock traders, or have played around in the stock market or with cryptos, you probably understand that pretty well. For those of you that don't, it's basically just setting it up so that you can set your price on when you buy and your price when you sell, which I think is great. And then the credit card, I'll show you guys just a quick screenshot here. I've been using the credit card in the past, and it's been pretty good. I gave one to my son so he could earn me free gold and silver to build his credit. And the quick thing I'll tell you about credit cards is you really should pay them off in full when you get the bill. And the reason for that is so that you don't have to pay the high interest that goes along with credit cards. So if you're a person that has a hard time paying that on a regular basis, it may not be the right product for you. But that would be credit cards in general, not this particular credit card. What I do like about this credit card, though, is you can go around and earn points that then convert into gold and silver, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to show you guys this is the account I have for the credit card. I have not used it extensively, but I've been using it a little bit. And you'll see that I've earned $244.90. And that's free. That's reward points to me. Okay. That didn't cost me any money. But look at this other number up here, Levi, 32.53%. That is how much my reward points have gained in value since I've earned them. And I don't know any other rewards program out there that you can do that with. So when I have points from my hotel or points from my flyer program with my airlines, they usually lose value over time as they start to make more. You have to use more points to get the same benefit. With this, it's gone up, which has been really cool. And so now I've got the option of continuing to stack that and build it, or to redeem it, or for fiat, or to redeem it in for physical. So I think it's pretty cool. I've enjoyed using it. So if we wanted to leave people with just a couple other thoughts here, how is the best way for them to get started with this? I think we were talking about I can put a link down below for them. Is that probably the easiest way for them to go to it? Or what is the official name for the app that you might find on Google Play or on Apple, the Apple Store? App Store?
Great question. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to find either way. So it's onegold.com will get you to the full website. The app is available for download, like you mentioned, for Apple and Google as well. And it's just OneGold. So if you search that, we'll pop right up.
So what I want to leave people with is we're going to have some more interviews with Levi in the future here. I do want to dive into a little bit more how to functionally use the app. So I will have some other videos that come out and they will show me opening up a new account. So it'll be exactly what you guys see. We'll go through that process of setting that up. We'll do that together. I want to help you guys go through some of the features to show you how to set the limit orders, how to set up the I don't know if was it called auto buy. What do you officially call it?
Auto invest. Yep.
Auto invest. And then I also want to be able to show you guys the difference of buying from the different vaulting facilities they have. So you've got the United States, Canada, and I think it's Switzerland.
That's right.
You have the option of buying gold, silver, and platinum. And today, what I want to do for those of you that stuck around till the end to watch the video is we've got discount codes that I will have listed below. But that'll be SurferG for US gold, and then we'll also have SurferS for US silver. And using those codes, Levi, what will that get people that use those codes?
Yeah, so for their first order, that will enable them to buy at spot. So no premium for your first order on U.S. gold or U.S. silver.
Okay, perfect. So is there an amount of money that they can buy up to, and how long does that code last for?
So the code won't expire until you use it. Basically,
Okay.
there's no minimum amount. I think the maximum discount we have on that is like $10,000. So not the maximum order amount, but so that's quite a large order. That's like a 6-figure order. So yeah, those are kind of the only limitations.
Okay, and then everybody can use both codes, right? So
Yes.
you can do it for gold and silver. Um, and then the other thing I just wanted to point out to you guys too is when you look at the different options there is no service fee when you're using your bank account. There will be a service fee for using a credit card. Now, if you were to be using the OneGold credit card, it would basically cancel out that fee. So the rewards would cover whatever that fee is. So that's kind of that for you guys. So anyway, please leave any questions down below that you guys have. If there's any questions you'd like me to ask Levi on our next interview, let me know what those are as well. If any of you have used OneGold in the past, I'd love to hear your experience and share your story with us. I've been using it. Many of my friends have been using it. It was the first way I was able to get some of my friends that are heavily into other crypto and Bitcoin to consider getting some precious metals. It was an easy way for them to kind of work their way into it. For my kids, it's a way for me to set up an account for them where I'm able to kind of show them how it works. They can look on their phone and be able to see. My kids are older; they're just graduated high school, but it's easier for them to kind of to see it. And they're going to college. I don't want them having a bunch of gold and silver in their college dorm. I don't think that's super safe. You can't put a big massive safe in there, and it's a way for them to have some gold and silver that's vaulted. They can see the value of it, and if they got into a pinch, they could sell some of it. Anything that's more for inheritance is going to be in my stack that they'll get down the road. So for me, it's been a great option. So Levi, I want to thank you for coming on today. And for those of you that are watching, please leave a comment. Please hit the subscribe and the bell icon if you haven't done so already. And until next time, peace out.